how are you doing today? I'm doing good, thanks. It's freezing cold, as always, but we're in January. Pretty soon it's going to be spring and, everything's going to be better. So if you're kind of getting sick of the dark nights in the Northern Hemisphere, or sick of the long nights in the Southern Hemisphere, wherever you are, be sure, my friends, it's always going to change. That's what it's all about. In this video, a bit later on, we will do a 5-card pick-a-card reading. But for now, just going to talk a little bit more about spirit guides, okay? This is a kind of a series. I say a kind of a series because it's not just going to be like part 1 one day, part 2 the next day, and on and on. This is the third Psychic Say video that I've done. It's the second one on spirit guides, and the nature of spirit guides is it's always best to wait for the inspiration to come in before you actually make the video or write the book or whatever you're doing, because it can take time, you know. When I first came into this, things moved very quickly for me, actually, and I went from someone telling me I was a medium to actually doing mediumship and lots and lots of card readings. Almost straight away, people were on top of me wanting readings. And then it went very, very quiet, and this is many years ago now. It went very quiet indeed. And I wondered, why would they sort of get you ready and stand you up and have you all your guns blazing and ready to go, and then just kind of sort of cut it off as if nothing had ever happened. And I still don't know the true answer to that, to be honest. I just know that that is part of the way spirit guides work, and really it's like what I was saying about waiting for the inspiration, because there is a right time for everything. And a lot of friends of mine at the time, and a lot of people, some people I don't even know, just got in touch because they've heard I'm a medium and said, well, all this happened and now all this has stopped happening. So what was that all about? What was the point? And the point is, if you learn like that, if stuff starts happening and you start making progress in your life, then the time surely is going to come when you're going to be working a lot, and it might even become your main job. It seems to have become mine in recent months, actually. And we're going back about sort of 30 years or so, about 33 years since I started reading tarot, and 12 years ago since I found out that I was a medium and I could communicate with the other side. And that goes in fits and stops too, it doesn't always work. A couple of weeks before Christmas, I had a fantastic week, actually, with mediumship. I was connecting to people's spirit guides left, right and centre, and people were asking for readings and it was working. And then I did a massive church service on Zoom. There were a lot of people present, run by one of our churches in UK. And that was a great success as well. And one of the people that I gave a message to from her grandfather, actually, wanted then to book a private reading with me for her mother as a Christmas gift the next day. So sure, I went ahead and did that. Oh, not a thing. Had to give the money back because I couldn't get a thing. I did pull some cards for her in the end, but I couldn't charge money for that. It was a mediumship reading. And I just kind of, I sort of questioned it, but I'm getting to know how this works now. Now, there can be various reasons why it doesn't work. It can either just be not a great connection, and that happens, and not everyone in the spirit world is a big communicator. That's a fact of life. And some people in this world aren't all that receptive to it, and I think that might have been part of the case with this lady, because it was something her daughter had got her as a Christmas gift. I don't know how deeply she actually believes in it or not. And if people don't believe in it, they're just not kind of ready to see the knowledge, to taste the knowledge and actually interact with it. And that's something they teach mediums and lots of psychics as well, actually. It's not really our job to make people believe. We do actually deal in giving evidence. It's always good to give evidence to the person that you're actually seeing and or hearing the person in the spirit world, and you can describe that person and give some details. And that evidence then adds weight to whatever comes next in the message. It makes the person take the message more seriously. But you can't force people to accept that evidence. I took a service once where it was sort of giving out this message and describing. 2 or 3 people came through that I was describing. And as it wore on, the people in the back row that I was giving this message to, nodding along with it and, accepting it. And Then after quite a while, I said, so, can you relate to this person? And the lady said, something, what was it now? She said, well, yes, I can take all of that, but those people are dead. And, you wonder if someone comes to a spiritualist service not understanding that. And you'd think everyone sort of knew what it was. But there we go. That one worked out in the end, but it was quite hard to get it started. And it's just, it's not our job ever to try and force people or persuade people to believe in this. People find this when they need it. And this is something I love about this movement that really marks it out from the churches generally, the Christian churches, and various other religious movements. Well, this isn't a religious movement, is it? But various religious movements, because quite often they're trying to convert people. The Jewish faith doesn't, for obvious reasons, but quite often they'll try and convert people, and the preacher will get up and say, go out and save souls for me, persuade these souls that everything we're saying here is true and real. And that's not really what goes on in spiritualism, and it's not really what goes on in the psychic realms. Some people in the spiritualist movement despair that I would relate psychic as a sort of way of doing things to mediumship. They say it's something different, but I'm convinced after all these years that they are different kind of energies, and it does work in different ways, but they all speak into your thoughts. It's all the subconscious mind, and the mediumship is getting it out of the subconscious mind and making it real. So how do spirit guides work then? That's really what I wanted to get into today. And there are various ways. I'm sure I won't cover them all in one video. I'm sure I didn't cover them all in the last video I did about this. I'm sure there'll be a part 3 sometime, but today it's part 2. And circumstances, okay? Circumstances are one of the deepest ways that spirits speak to us. And actually we do have a complete choice whether we decide it's just happenstance or whether we decide it's for real. There's an old Native American prayer that features in it the lines, something like, I should be able to remember this now, but the churches have been closed for so long, I haven't said this prayer for ages, but let me find the lessons you have hidden from me in every leaf and rock. And how many of us have had that experience, just been out walking somewhere? It doesn't have to be leaves and rocks. That's the Native American view of it, because the earth energy really does speak to us. And I live out in the countryside, and sometimes I'll see a line of trees or a particular shape in a hedge or something, and it'll remind me of something, and it'll inspire me. I might even then make a video about it, or it might play into a message that I give to someone in mediumship later on in the day. That's the way it goes, but you just find evidence there. It's just there, and where you find yourself is actually a big part of that as well. We very often find ourselves we happen to be doing the right thing at the right time. And even when things aren't going well, even when we don't feel that we're doing the right thing, or we feel that we must be doing something wrong because things aren't working out, we are in the right place then. The universe is always the way it's meant to be by the Great Spirit at any time and in any place. Certainly, some situations are really bad, but then the only way is up. And the whole idea is that this prompts us to actually put our energies into turning things around and make things happen in a better way that's happier for ourselves. That's where happy comes into it. And happy comes into it a lot in that exact way, actually, because the quest for happiness is really the quest for contentment. When people feel content, when people feel that things are going as they should be and that things are slowly improving, or generally speaking, things are good, then people are going to feel happy in that situation. That really is how it works. We're comfortable if we're not in pain. If we put our fingers in the fire, we are in pain, and that's why we don't all burn our hands off trying to light fires, or why we didn't back in the caveman days when that's what we had to do. So, as we feel pain for a reason, we feel discomfort, or as Reikiists and healers would say, we feel dis-ease for a reason. There is always a reason for it. So that's just circumstances, it really is. What circumstances do you find yourself in? Another level of it is money. If you're pretty convinced that you need to do something, it's nearly always going to cost some money, and the money will just come along if it's meant to happen. And maybe we can all relate to that. I don't know, I suppose it depends how old you are. I'm in my late 50s here, and it's happened to me several times in life where I was really trying to achieve something and do something, and some money just appeared out of the blue. It's pretty rare. I wish it happened more often. But as an example, I was in a band in my early 20s. I lived in Cardiff, which is the capital city of Wales in UK. And so there were lots of opportunities for bands. There were lots of pubs we could play in, lots of venues. And we were in a band, and we were actually, though I say it myself, I think we were doing quite well. We weren't brilliant to start with, and we got better and better, and we wanted to go places and do things. But I was the keyboards player, and I had this really dreadful keyboard. It was, hopeless, and it kept cutting out, and no one really wanted to get involved in doing gigs until all our instruments were right. And we kept getting offers and turning them down because people would hear what we could do in rehearsal. And it was going very well, and I just, I couldn't see how it was ever going to happen that I would have enough money to buy sort of the 3 keyboards that I really needed to do justice to the music we were doing, and all the amplification and stuff like that. And then a remarkable thing happened. I got a phone call one day in the digs I was living in. There was a public phone, and it rang, and it was for me. And it was a lady that I'd known 2 or 3 years ago before. And she was a TV actress in quite a small way. She doesn't seem to be doing that anymore. I think she's sort of married and had kids and settled down out of it. But she'd been a friend of mine, just a casual acquaintance really. I didn't know her very well. And she was making a film for the Welsh TV channel, pt2, S4C, one of our British TV channels, all Welsh language. And she was making this film. It's called Merthyr Girl, Born and Bred. It's been shown in Canada, I know that, but it's not a big movie or anything. But in this movie, there was supposed to be a band on stage, and we didn't actually have to play anything. They were going to overdub the correct music when the director had decided it was right. And the director hadn't worked out exactly what he wanted at that point. And she just remembered me, and she remembered my phone number, and she knew that I had a band, and that we were around, and we'd probably look the part. We were the kind of people that they were looking for. So I said yes, sure, and I talked to the guys, and we went along and did it, and I earned something like 280 British pounds, which in the 1980s was enough to buy all the equipment I needed. It wouldn't buy one keyboard now, but it bought all the equipment that I needed to set my part of it up. With one day's work. That's all it took, was one day's work. And suddenly the band was ready to go out. So the band started happening then, and we started getting gigs and getting bookings and going out and playing. And so the money came along just when it was meant to, and not a minute before. So that's all part of the happenstance of life. And you could just say, well, that's happenstance, good things happen. Who's to say it's all to do with spirit guides? Well, it's a matter of what you believe, but it's what I believe. And in that sense, it was right that I had no money and I didn't have the keyboards and the band felt hopeless. That was where we needed to be to attract in the energy of the right moment at the right moment, that the money was going to come in and the things were going to start happening. And that was like a real sudden leg up. I really wasn't expecting that at all. So anyway, I digress. Spirit guides. That's one side of it, the way things just turn up and things just happen when they're meant to, and we see things out and about that remind us of people and things. The next thing I want to mention is dreams, dreams and whether or not you remember them. This is something I say a great deal to people as a psychic. It comes up in many readings. A lot of people will seek out a reading because they've been having dreams that they don't understand. And sometimes we can sort of weave through what they remember about the dreams and find something, but there's nothing quite like getting that person to write their dreams down. I say it, I must say it in probably about 50% of my videos, telling people to write their dreams down. And it's worth doing because it's amazing how much of a dream gets lost or mislaid or forgotten somewhere in the subconscious mind. By the time we've been awake for sort of 10, 15 minutes or so, we've lost lots of it. But sometimes dreams are very intense and we do remember them. And so dreams, and whether you remember them, that's a big way that spirit guides work with us. It can be very, very confusing, and the information in dreams can come in a very jumbled up, confused sort of way. And that's fine in so many ways, I suppose. Really it would be easier for people to interpret these things if it was less so, and it isn't, less so. It is what it is. But we're talking about spirit guides communicating from one world to the next and getting us to remember stuff. And all they've got to work with is the raw material in our own minds, in our subconscious minds, and the way the brain is configured. One side of my brain is completely dead. I'm surprised I'm not completely dead, actually. But I had a stroke and things are fine. But I've seen the brain scan. And actually the whole left side of my brain is completely atrophied. It doesn't do anything. I think blood pumps through it, but that's about it. It doesn't work at all. And yet, I don't know, I don't seem to have any problems that other people don't have. Real strange thing, that. And I do have dreams, and maybe if that hadn't happened I'd remember them better, but it is the way it is, and it forces me to think. So me in my situation, you in your situation, which might and probably is completely different, might be, or whatever, the differences between people are absolutely massive and manifold, and so spirit guides take that time to get tuned in, and very often in our dreams they'll show us this mad jumble of images that doesn't appear to make any sense, but we get there in the end, particularly if we write the dreams down. And the other thing I want to mention, and we'll get into our pick a card reading very shortly, actually, because this is a quick one. Inner guidance, okay? Just that feeling inside yourself. You just get a feeling about something. And this shows up a lot, and I'm sure a lot of you who do readings will be able to understand this, will be able to relate to it. Shuffling decks and cards suddenly falling out. A card has just fallen on the floor as I said that, actually. Okay, we'll put that in with the reading and see where we get in a minute. Yeah, I think just about anyone who's got any experience of tarot or oracle or angel card readings is what I'm talking about, will tell you that if a card just jumps out of the deck or falls out, you spill them and one lands face up, you're meant to read that card. We all seem to know it, and yet people set such great stock by how carefully you've got to shuffle the deck. And I'm no better. When I get a new deck, I spread the cards all out on the table and I sort of move them around so they go over each other, under each other, and I go to great lengths to make sure they're shuffled. But at times I've just kind of cut the deck and pulled cards out, which I did in my last 5-card reading, which was the Saturday spread. It's one of the last videos I did. That deck was just so big that I couldn't shuffle it, I have to work out a way of shuffling it, I guess. But I just cut the card randomly in 5 places, and I know it worked because I got 5 major arcana cards, which, the chances of that are, I don't know, 78 cards in a deck, 21 of them are major arcana. What's the chances of that? I don't know, but it's quite a slim chance. So I know it actually works, and if we believe that a card can fall out of a deck and be the right card, then I'm not saying it doesn't matter about shuffling them. It is good practice, it certainly is. But it's best not to get too hung up on it, because that is your inner guidance working with the spirit world when you just happen to spill the cards at a particular moment and a card falls out. It's fantastically intricate detail that spirit guides are able to work with, because they are superhumans. And as I'm always saying, this is all about superhuman knowledge. I feel very humbled to be able to channel it, and I'm sure all of you who do readings would feel humbled by it as well. If you don't do readings, fair enough. If you're interested in doing readings and you're kind of starting to do them, but you're not really confident yet, I would say take heart and just go for it, okay? Because spirit will guide you. It can seem very, very random at times, but when you pull the cards out and people can take the cards and relate to the cards, then that's great. And people very often leave me a comment saying, I picked card number so-and-so and it was spot on for me. That still amazes me after all these years. It still really amazes me. But it does work, and it does happen. So I've spilt some there. What have we got? 1, 2, 3. Okay, right. So, Starman Tarot today, which is actually the one I used in the Tarot by Star Sign video I did last Friday. It's getting a lot of use at the moment because it's among my favourite decks and I do like to use it. And I'm giving this a proper good shuffle. I gave it a proper good shuffle before we started as well. Because I like that cutting the deck method, but I don't know, I'm a card reader. I'm going to shuffle them. Fact of life. Okay, so let's take 5 off the top. And what are we going to do with these now, guys? It's time to look at these and pick one, basically. So I'll fan them out. Do you want card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, card number 4, or card number 5? Sorry about the wacky lighting, by the way. I'm working on my lighting all the time. Working on a new camera at the moment, saving up for a new camera. So if you would like to buy me or the channel a coffee, please go to my coffee page. It's in the description just below this video. I'll make sure it's there. It's the first link in the links once you get to the end of the first couple of lines of the description. That really helps, and it helps, bigs me up, makes me feel appreciated, but it really helps the channel. I've got to, yeah, can you see my tie clip mic? I haven't got a tie on, but I got this tie clip mic from Money People Gave to Coffee, and it really helps the channel out, guys. It really does. So if you'd like to, only if you'd like to, you know, don't feel bad about it. Have a look at my coffee page. There are various pictures of the woods where I live and my animals on there as well. Something interesting to look at. Anyway, card 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. What did you choose? Let's go with card number 1. What is it going to be? Let's see. I already know, do you? Well, you do now. It's the 4 of Cups. Okay. Now then, the meaning of this card, this is all about rebuilding life. It's really all about receiving blessings, I suppose. That's the bottom line of it. But sometimes we've got to restructure our life so that we're in a situation where we're willing and happy to receive blessings. A lot of us feel unworthy, and that's something that needs to be worked on. It is actually a very positive number, though. It's a very solid foundation when you get the 4 of Cups. So if you chose this card and you're feeling unworthy, think again. You know, every human being is worthy of help and support and love, and the things you want to find on your mission through life are things that you're meant to find, things that you're meant to have. It's important to be grateful for what you already have, you know, so do count your blessings, certainly. It can also be a time when emotions get overwhelmed. That's something else that's indicated in the 4 of Cups here. And overwhelmed emotions are something that really do stand in the way of us manifesting not just wealth, but wealth, love, all the, you know, the things we want, the things we actually want to do. Okay, card number 2. What is it? It is the 10 of Swords. There we are. Now this is a very complicated kind of a card, but we do have this kind of one of those magical cubes that couldn't exist in real life because of the way the lines go, but it shows what you can draw, what supernatural things can happen just by using a pen or a pencil, or in this case a paintbrush. And this is time to sort of think about ending your way of thinking, or, you know, changing your way of thinking, I guess. This is where the past is old news, you know. 10 of Swords, it's very high in the Swords deck and in the Swords suit, and it is all to do with decisions and thinking, and hence, you know, end your way of thinking, because it's number 10 you've got there. The next thing to happen is the next leg of the journey, so be ready for that. It's time to break free from your past self, basically, to release what no longer serves you, and that's another psychic say thing that comes up again and again. The past is old news. Some of what was good for you in the past is no good for you anymore, so release that. Be willing to see life in a new way and be willing to let new things happen. Super important. And really, it's about kind of choosing the responsibilities you want to have. And in that sense, another thing it says in the book about this card is reclaim power. Reclaim your personal power. And you may have kind of committed yourself and given yourself to things in the past, things that worked in the past, things that were positive and helped everyone concerned, including you. Things have changed. Okay, so take that energy back. Any energy that isn't needed anymore, take it back and use that energy for going forward, because the next leg of the journey really is coming up. So that is the 10 of Swords. Excuse me a minute. I'm always dropping cards absolutely all over the place. What is the middle card? It's this one. I just picked it up off the floor, so I know it is. It's the 5. Let me show you. The 5 of Wands. I always get a sneak preview because I can see them when I'm holding them up the other way around for you. Competitive nature. That's what this one's really all about. And human beings do have this competitive nature, particularly men. In fact, I had to cut off from a friend of mine because I was so fed up of his competitiveness. If ever we played a game of pool together, he would be kind of say he was all cool about it. But if I managed to put a ball in his pocket, he would become very kind of frustrated because he felt he had to be the alpha male and he had to be the best. And then his wife inherited a huge amount of money, which he started spending like crazy. And he was just always boasting about how much money he got. And, you know, that's one thing. But he'd also criticise me all the time for how much money I haven't got. And I just got fed up with it. You know, I'm happy as I am, and I could never explain to him that I'm happy as I am. I just, you know, I've got my own house. God, I'm really lucky. But I could never get that across to him, you know, and it became an issue. And we had less and less in common, and in the end, I just haven't seen him for a long time, just the way it goes. That's a positive thing to do, really, you know, cutting cords with the past again, I suppose. But competitiveness, it's part of the human psyche that we don't necessarily need. It doesn't always help. It helps sometimes, you know, in human progression. But if you look what's going on with the presidential situation in the States at the moment, a lot of that trouble is because the man concerned just can't possibly not win without seeing himself as a loser, as something bad. And there's a lot of his parental stuff tied up with that as well. I know about that. So it becomes very negative. What you need to do is, in the face of whatever competition is going on around you at the moment, and this is the middle card, this is the heart of the matter if you picked all 5. Keep your own structure rigid, you know, stick to who you are. You are who you are for a reason, most certainly. Test out new ideas for yourself without worrying what other people think about them, and be prepared to move forward, because it's the Wands, it's progress, it's getting things done, and it's number 5. So you're kind of halfway through whatever journey that one is. Okay, card number 4, it is... Dun, dun, dun. Love this pattern on the back of the Starman. This card is the 7 of Cups. There it is. I'll bring it back a bit so you can see it. So dream big. I was just talking about dreams, wasn't I? Dream big. I don't exactly know how you choose to dream big in your dreams when you're asleep at night, but let yourself daydream big. Imagine what you would actually like to have. Imagine which way you'd like your life to go, and actually plan to make it happen. I'm always saying visualize and believe. You have to really believe that stuff's going to happen for the visualization end of things to work. So visualize and believe. Okay. Make those plans because you believe in it. Make the plans to actually make stuff happen. Listen to the guidance that comes to you in your nighttime dreams for sure. But there's some daydreaming is really good in this, because what you really need to do is explore your own creative gifts as fully as you can. Really get to the bottom of that. Okay. Brings us now to card number 5. What have we got for card number 5? It's the 6 of something. What will it be? It's the 6 of Wands. Here we go. Now then, very triumphant scene here. There's a lot of winning going on. We've got the Wands there, always a sign of progress. And because it's number 6, we're past halfway through the Wands journey. This is a victory, but we're not all the way to a complete victory yet, okay? So the battle still needs to be going on. And what needs to happen to really make this complete for you is to get recognised, you know, get recognition for what you've done. Other people around you might not always get what you're about, I suppose is the way to put it. Other people around you might not fall in with your plans, but try and get people to at least recognise where you're at, what it is you're doing, what it is you're trying to do, and what it is you want to achieve in the future. And by the time you get to the number 6 in the game of Wands, then, you know, you should have a pretty good idea of where you want to head, what you want to happen, how you want success to come about for you. And the other thing about this card is you need to fine-tune your way into that success. Okay, so you've won at least the battle. You might not have won the whole war, but you've won the battle. to keep going forward, really get things finely tuned, get zeroed in, get dialed in to what you're headed for, what you're trying to achieve, and get on with making it happen, because that's a very positive card, the Six of Wands. Okay, friends, well, that's just about it for this one. As I was saying, do check out the coffee page. You don't have to buy anything just to have a look at it. There's lots of pictures on there. There's nothing for sale on there yet. There will be, actually, because you can sell things on there. But there's nothing for sale there yet. You can buy me a coffee if you want, or buy the channel a coffee, which all helps with well, everything I was talking about before, and is always very greatly appreciated. Big thanks to everyone who's already contributed on there, actually. Adrienne and Sin, and I don't want to say too much because I'll forget someone, and I don't want to forget someone. Everyone who's contributed to coffee, thank you very much. It really helps. It really kind of bigs the channel up, and it builds me up as well. It's a really great thing, so thank you so much. Do leave me a comment, guys. It's always good to hear what you think of these readings, you know. It's always kind of good to, it helps us feel in tune with each other, you know, and that's always really good. So leave me a comment. Do subscribe to the channel, please, if you haven't already. I'm not mad keen on growing into a sort of million subscriber great big thing, because then I won't have that personal one-to-one connection. But it's kind of fragile at the moment. I could possibly slip down below 1,000 subs and not be able to do the live videos. So do hit that subscribe button, please, as well as helping me, and it helps the channel no end as well, actually. That way we can stay connected and you get notifications for everything that's coming up. For example, on Wednesday this week at it's 8:30 p.m. UK time, so that's 2:30 in the afternoon Central USA time. Okay, I hope you can work it out from that. I will be going live again. We'll go for a good hour and a half, something like that, with live cards, live readings. I love doing those, actually, because then it's one-to-one. It can mean that much more to you. But for now, friends, thumbs up, please, if you've enjoyed it. Take good care of yourselves. More videos coming all the time. I'll see you again very soon. So love and light, as I always say, and I really mean it. And blessings to you, and peace. Goodbye.